everyone, Grand Risings, happy 7th day. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Valencia and I am an aspiring spiritual counselor and life coach. Today we're going to be discussing 5 things that I've learned on my spiritual journey. I want to talk a little bit about like how far I've come and like how I kind of got into it first before I get into my 5 things. So I want to say I started this journey, I want to say maybe November, December of 2019. There were a lot of things that influenced me on starting this journey for myself. It just came to a point in life where like I realized that there's certain things that are at a standstill and I felt very stagnant, you know? And with stagnancy, it's just it's really uncomfortable. I didn't really have a direction. I didn't know where I was going. And it was like a similar feeling, you know. Once upon a time, I went through a very long period of depression and it felt familiar. The feeling of stagnancy just felt so familiar, you know, and I didn't want to fall back into that hole. 3.5 years of feeling bluesy is a lot. It does definitely take a toll on you. And I vowed that I would never go back to that. I began the spiritual journey. Really, honestly, it started with food. My ex is a vegetarian. He kind of like influenced me a lot with that because the most of the time I was making meals and, you know, he doesn't eat the things that I ate. So a lot of things that came from it, I was kind of curious about like things that he ate and like the foods that he fed me were great. So I kind of got into that. And not only that, there were certain things that were said that kind of turned me off from meat and certain products. So that drastically changed the way that I ate. Slowly but surely, like my brain started, you know, retraining itself. And it basically told me like what's good to eat and what's not good to eat. So there's things that I put down, aka all meat. And there's certain things that I'm still trying to get rid of, but it's a process. But yeah, it started with food. Then it just started with my being and where I was mentally. And attached to that was just like my spirituality, because I felt disconnected from myself. And I feel like that's part of where my stagnancy came from. But yeah, you know, through that, like I started praying more. I started getting more into reading like certain scriptures, not for the sake of religion, because I'm not religious. I'm spiritual, not religious. But you have to know like the background of these things to kind of get an understanding of how universe works, regardless of them being stories written by men, written by people who are in physical body. Because I personally feel like, you know, religion is just like a book of rules to live by that gets you closer to God. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like a list of steps. Everybody has their own list of steps of what you have to do to be close to God. And it almost becomes like a politic. It just really gets sensitive to the point where we fight about it. And that's just not who I am. It's not who I am. But anywho, got into that. I started realizing, you know, like I'm praying more, like I feel more intuitive. I feel more inclined to do certain things to this day. Like, you know, like I pray when I feel inclined personally, but that's almost all the time. Yeah, it's just a different feel, you know. I've just come a long way. It's just, I'm just thinking about it. But let's get into it. 5 things that I've learned on my spiritual journey. Okay, so number 1 on my list is that it does not happen overnight. And what I mean by that is it takes time and it takes a lot of faith and discipline and things of that nature. Now, the tricky part about it is that you have to be fully committed. And that's hard for people nowadays. I can't speak for everybody, but it does seem like commitment is really hard for people when it comes to accomplishing certain goals. But I would say take it a bit at a time, because everything is not going to come to you. It's not going to be always sunshine and rainbows. It's not always going to be the best of the best situations, because when you open your mind to spirituality, you open up several different doors, and it's things that you aren't used to. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but it's things that will make you uncomfortable, but it's necessary for your growth. So I would definitely say, take it a bit at a time. Whatever you want to practice, whatever you feel like makes you gravitated towards your spirituality, work towards and work at it. Another thing about this important point is that you cannot put your faith into this and then worry about it or be doubtful later. Like, the one thing that I've been telling my friends is that worry and doubt disrupt the energy of God's work. Like, you can't do that. When you seal the envelope, you cannot open that anymore. You can't open that anymore. You sealed a deal. And that brings me into my second point. You cannot turn back. Once you open up that door, you cannot turn back. Number 2 on my list is that you cannot turn back. There's going to be things that you start to experience. There are things that you're going to start to see. There are things that you are going to start to feel that will never leave you because you sealed that deal. The envelope is closed. You cannot go back. You cannot rip it up. You cannot burn it. It is indestructible. This is a power that stays with you. It's like opening your door. You open up a door to spirituality. You cannot lock that door. It's open. It's wide open. And there's certain things that come with spirituality that are like little subcategories, and you learn more about it as you work with it. Like, for example, I feel more intuitive and I feel more inclined to do certain things. I feel more inclined to pray. I feel more inclined to tell people certain things about themselves. I feel more inclined to give positive energy and love because there's none in the universe. I've always been an empath, but I have never been as empathic as I am now. Like, I feel super. Everything that I feel is times 10, tenfold. And these are things that you just can't turn off because you opened your mind to it. And so, like, your mind remembers it and your mind keeps it there. So it's a routine thing and you can't really knock it out. Number 3 on my list is that you will have to make sacrifices. So with your spiritual journey, it will not work and you will not get to the place that you need to be in until you rid yourself of certain habits, certain people, certain energies, in the way that you think. It's honestly, I like to think of it as a self-build kind of thing. You're in competition with yourself. So basically, it's just a battle to, build yourself up and improve your being. You can be way better than who you are now. You think that you now is great, and that's okay, but you could be a way better person. And I'm a walking testimony. Like, I'm a living testimony of that. Like, I can attest to that. No hesitation. No hesitation. No hesitation. You will have to rid yourself of certain people. You will have to rid yourself of certain energies. You will have to rid yourself of a lot of things that you may not be willing to give up. And if you're not ready to give that up yet, that's fine. But your spiritual journey will be delayed. It may not be for you. Yeah, essentially, your new life is going to cost you your old one. But if you be consistent with everything that you do and you know exactly where you want to go, like which direction you want to go in life, that's when you start building at your process. That's when everything starts to flow because you've got it down packed that this is what you want. And determination is what helps your spirit guides and God put a supporting energy behind you so that you can move forward. Progression, not regression. Once you enter a door, it locks. You cannot turn around and try to unlock that door. It's forever locked. Number 4 is that you will change drastically. And this is the fun but scary part because you literally feel and watch yourself mature, but in a way that you've never seen before. You take a lot of the things that you learned from previous experiences and you apply it. You really do apply what you've learned to your new life. And once you do that, it just helps tend to your garden. It just helps you grow. You kind of grow with it. there's no better way that I can explain that, but it's really a beautiful process. It's really scary because it's like it happens so fast sometimes, or when you're in certain positions in your life, it just happens so fast, but it's for the better. Energy is definitely there. You're going to feel a lot of energy. Physically, you'll feel a lot of change. Spiritually, you'll feel a lot of change. You'll feel like maybe even more inclined to pray, as I do. I pray when I feel inclined to do it, because I don't feel like intention is always right when you just do it just to do it. And another thing about praying, I can do a video about praying, but one thing that I feel about praying is that you have to be super careful with your intentions, because there's also other things out here that could be preying on you. There's other people listening. There's other things listening. So you have to set your intentions for when you pray. You have to make sure that you're praying to who it is that you're actually praying to, you know? So I pray when I feel inclined, because my body knows exactly who it's intended for. You feel like it's kind of like a tingle. I don't know if this resonates with anybody, but feel a little tingle here, maybe like near your heart chakra. And yeah, that's when I feel inclined. And whenever I feel that, I'll stop everything that I'm doing and I'll go pray. Then, right then and there, is where universe knows who the prayer is intended for. I am protected. I am divinely protected. And this is something that you have to keep in mind when you do pray, because you don't want your mind to wander off, or you don't want your mind to linger into a different thought. You want to make sure that you're focused and concentrated. Once the energy is there, it never goes away. You'll forever feel that feeling, and there's just a lot around you. You just really learn to appreciate the things around you and value the things around you. And you'll see this in between. You'll see this more with mantras, or maybe even like self-affirmations during the day. Or when you pray, you might have a ritualistic prayer that you say. You know, like everybody's prayer isn't the same. So yeah, when you pray, it may become repetitive, the certain things that you say, but you know what the intention behind it is, and that's why it's a great thing. But yeah, my last point is basically that through all of this, you will find your purpose. I honestly could say, like, this hit me hard, and it was so fast the way my life changed once I gave it over. And I could never be ungrateful about that, you know? Like, I do feel like it happened fast, and I have a lot to learn. I'm still in the beginning of my journey. I'm just sharing with y'all what I've already learned, or what I have learned. I want to share my experiences and what I've learned with you all. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that make you feel uncomfortable, but let me tell you something. Here's where your comfort zone is, and here's where the magic happens. The magic happens outside of your comfort zone. But yeah, guys, with this, honestly, you do truly find your purpose. You will recognize and become more aware of your being and what your duty is here. We all have an agenda here. We all have a purpose to fulfill. And through your spirituality is what you'll find, because you have spirit guides, and then you have universe and God who are pushing these intentions on you so that it reveals itself. And you know what you're supposed to do in life. God will never steer you wrong. And when he places these things upon you, you need to pay attention to them, because these gems and these jewels are what's strengthening you. You know, you're filling up your sack. This is your strength. Those jewels that you picking up, them diamonds that you picking up, yeah, that's your strength. The more that you pick up on what's being revealed, the better your life will go. And there's going to be certain times where everything isn't sunshine and rainbows. Like I said, you know, like there's going to be times where things are a burden or things are uncomfortable, but you'll have to learn how to bear through that. You become way more sensitive to the world than what you are now. And that's the part that's the biggest burden. Honestly, that's where the most discomfort comes from, but it's also where you grow and learn the most. So I would say that is something to keep in mind. But also, I do encourage everyone to dig deep and get in tune with themselves so that they can find their purpose. I just honestly want the best for everybody at this point. Like, I've never been so happy in my life, you know. I've never been so grateful to have something to pay attention to when I feel like there's nothing left. I feel energetic. I feel like there's something instilled in me that it's just so great that I just can't explain it. It's ineffable. It's ineffable. And I'm very grateful to have the things that I have. I'm very grateful for the things that have been presented to me, because without this, I honestly don't think I would be here. I don't think I would be here. More than grateful for everything that I have. But yeah, thank you all for tuning into my video. I really hope you enjoyed it and maybe even learned something. I'm fairly new to this, but I never have a problem sharing any of my experiences with anyone. I never have a problem with giving advice or advising. So if you have any questions, never hesitate to send me a DM. My information will be in the description below. And yeah, thank you all for watching. Tune in next week for my next video. And yeah, I hope to see you there. Thank you.